Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Parakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatang Vitang Tang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Purijana Sahitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakan Vitangscha Om Ajnanatimrandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksurun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Guru Gaura Gandharva Govindang Gringanai Saha Vande Prasarato Yesham Savaramba Subankara Gauravag Vigraham Vande Gaurangam Gauravaivavam Gaura Sankirtanomatam Gaura Karunya Sundaram Guru Rupa Harim Gauram Radha Ruchi Ruchavritam Nityam Nomi Navadipe Nama Kirtana Nartanai Srimad Prabhupadamboja Madhupebhyo Namo Namaha Adadana Sriram Dantaridam Jache Puna Puna Srimad Rupa Padamboja Dulisham Janma Janmani Ananda Lila Maya Vigrahaya Hemavadivyachtavi Sundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasa Pradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. So we're reading from an excerpt from the talks of Srila Guru Maharaj, and it's particularly about the holy name of Krishna. And he begins by saying, referencing his Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He's saying, almost always his mood is speaking in praise of Mahaprabhu. So much so, in his hymn, I mentioned Kripaya Hari-kirtana murti dharam dharani baraharaka gaura janam janat kadika batsal snigda padam pranamami shada prabhupada padam. So this is the famous prayer that Srila Guru Maharaj wrote in praise of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and identifying all of his qualities, characteristics, the beauty of his divine form. And he says, just the Kirtan has been personified in his figure. So he says, Kripaya Hari-kirtana murti. He's the Hari-kirtana murti. You think, but still, and we know that Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, we are surprised to hear Guru Maharaj say that Saraswati Thakur said, and Kirtan means a fight. So we say, no, I mean Kirtan is like when we get together with kartals and mridangas and we sing the holy name of Krishna. Yes, but he's saying, but it's creating a particular divine vibration that is, how do you say, at war with the Mayak misconception. So he said Kirtan means a fight because Kirtan also means making propaganda in favor of Krishna conception. So we're living in the world of misconception. And under the guidance of Sadhu, Shastra, Guru and Vaishnava, we're making propaganda in favor of Krishna conception and trying to transition from misconception to proper conception. So many things he said, and we know he has this, such an intense preaching mood, Western civilization, crush it, this kind of mood coming from him. And then Guru Maharaj said, but, And he's the Hari-kirtan murti, he said, but sometimes he would say, as if in a repentant mood, we are not speaking these days about the greatness, the nobleness of Krishna Nam Bhajan. So Srila Gurudev, Srila Govindamar said once, one of Saraswati Thakur's brothers came to him to visit him after Gaudiya Math, established by him, was so successful. Remember, he distilled from the teachings of Bhaktivinoda Thakur that the essence, the most important thing, is association, sadhu sangha. So he said, I will establish centers where people can get sadhu sangha, because we'll say, well, there's Nam Sankirtan, Bhagavat Shravan, Murti, Pratishta, so many different things. But if we don't connect with the proper agent, they're all suspect, right? There may not only not be any real substance there, it may be damaging, right? So, sadhu sangha. So he established Sri Gaudiya Math, its descendants, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math, et al. And so with the birthplace of Mahaprabhu in Mayapur, Sri Chaitanya Math, and the flagship center in Kolkata, and so many other branches and temples established throughout India. So his brother came to him, knowing his past, as we discussed somewhat on the Navadiptam Parikrama, and Guru Maharaj's words, in the jungle of Mayapur. When we go there now, we say, no, there's a city. It's a giant spiritual city. Yes, as envisioned by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, but at the time, the jungle of Mayapur. And there, Bimala Prasad, Brahmachari, as he was known, he was engaged in Nam Bhajan. Right? And Guru Maharaj will remind us, the bhajan of these higher personalities is not, it's not that they're practitioners in the conventional sense of the term, and you'll hear, they're directly engaged in service with Krishna. So he is in Mayapur chanting 3 lakhs of Krishna Nam daily. That's like 192 rounds. And as we'll hear here also, he's not struggling to do that. What's coming from his heart is moving him to express Krishna Nam incessantly. Like practically 24 hours of Nam Bhajan, in direct association and service with Krishna and his divine associates. Right? So, but we're told, so the Mahabhagavata of that plane, they see that everything is perfectly adjusted. Everything is within the divine will of Krishna. Ultimately, there's nothing that's non-Krishna. Everything is Krishna, directly or indirectly. Everything is directly or indirectly the will of Krishna. Nothing needs to be adjusted. Everything is moving at its own pace, you could say, toward the central conception of the infinite. Sri Krishna, reality of the beautiful. So, to preach means the Mahabhagavata, the Uttam Bhagavat, has to come down to the Madhyam position to distinguish, the middle position, to distinguish between this is favorable, that's unfavorable, this is desirable, that's undesirable. So, Srila Saraswati Thakur, as Srila Gurudeva said, attracted by the wealth and the melted heart of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Gurudam, Grantadam, Gauradam, Namadam, Muda, Bhaktidam, Buridam Bande, Bhaktivinodadam Sada. Bhakti Vinod Thakur gave us everything, revealed the birthplace of Mahaprabhu. He gave the holy name of Krishna, Krishna Bhakti, Radha Dasyam, all of our books, songs, and then what? What is listed? Gurudom. He gave Guru, the distributor of this wealth. There's all the wealth, who's going to distribute it? And that came in the form of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So, but, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions this in his songs, the burden of the responsibilities of seva is my joy. Right? Like there is the maxim or cliche, whatever you want. Every cliche has some original substance, truth in it. And what is called? The labor of love. A labor of love. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying that the labor that accompanies devotional service, that is the original, ultimate, and eternally lasting labor of love. So, but with so many mats, so many disciples, he said, I was one alone in the jungle of Mayapur, now I have 500 men who say what I say, they've been infused with his Krishna conception. Right? So his brother seeing some, like what did Guru Maharaj say? In the repent, a somewhat apprehensive mood, said, Prabhu, said, you do Nam Bhajan again. You know, like go back to where you were. You've done what you came to do. It's been you came to give something. It's been received and extended so extensively. Take up Nam Bhajan again. And Guru said, Saraswati Thakur said, oh, it is not possible. At this point. Although we know towards the his Shesh Leela's final pastimes, daily having Jajabar Maharaj sang the songs of Asta Kaliya Leela and the higher songs of Bhaktivinoda and Narottam in the last 3 months of his manifest pastimes. Still, he said, we're not speaking in these days about the greatness, the nobleness of Nam Bhajan. Then Guru Maharaj said, yet all of his attempts were only to mean that the name of the Lord, the holy name, is the greatest aspect and most noble aspect of the Lord, especially in the case to save the fallen souls. This was the only purpose of his life. No. Here in the Krishna Bharam Trisha Krishnam Sango Pangastra Parshadam Yagye Sankirtana Praye Yajanti Hi Sumedasa. What is Mahaprabhu gifting to everyone? He's incessantly taking the name of Krishna. Right? And we're told, Radha Bhava Duti Subalita, enveloped in the heart and halo of Srimati Radharani. So the supreme negative in the mood of the supreme positive in the mood of the supreme negative is relishing taking Krishna Nam. As Guru Maharaj like to quote Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur saying, Mahaprabhu Gauranga Sundara Nagarabhara Nityam Nijer Nama Bi. He's madly dancing in Navadip, taking his own name. So Guru Maharaj compared it to sweetness, seeing that everyone is mad for sweetness, then sweetness itself says, I also want to taste sweetness. So sweetness personified is tasting sweetness and going mad as the outcome. I didn't know how sweet I was, right? But appreciating that from the position of the supreme negative. In this case, that means Srimati Radharani. Krishna Varnam, Trishakra, Sangopangashtra Parshadam, with his associates, Nitai, Gaur Gadadhara, Dvaita Srivas, Yagye Sankirtana Praye, the Yagya, like there was the Krite, Dayatam Vishnum, Dwarpre Paripara, Tretayam Yajatomakai, the Yagya. The Yagya in this age, Sankirtan. Sankirtan is the Yagya for the Kali Yuga. Yajanti, Sumedasa, those who, Guru Maharaj says, are of refined theistic intellect will appreciate this. So he says, that was the only purpose of his life. Still, sometimes he showed that, like, I am not speaking about the nobility of the name. What am I doing? Right? In this way. So then Guru Maharaj quotes this famous verse of Srila Sanatana Goswami Prabhu from the Brihad Bhagavatamritam. And it's noteworthy that, what is this Brihad Bhagavatamritam? We're told, after the whole Bhagavatam has been spoken, from Sukadev to Parikshit Maharaj, and everyone is withdrawn, that Uttara, the mother of Parikshit, comes running and saying, son, I know you just heard all this nectar from Sukadev Goswami, for your dear mother, please share some nectar with me. And he's saying, Mom, you came just in time. Because what was he? He was one by one going to turn off all of his senses. He can leave on his own will, but he's playing this part. In the pastimes, the so-called snake bird is coming. So in that space of that time, Sukadev finished, the snake birds, that. So you've seen Brihad Bhagavatamritam, as published, 3 volumes, and that time. So then we can understand that Krishna Leela, Gaur Leela employs the the contraction and expansion of space and time. And we're told that Jaimini Rishi was hiding in the bushes and overheard this. Even then, these things are going on. So he overhears what Parikshit Maharaj is telling to Uttara, and we see, and it's totally fresh. Like Nitya Navana Mayama, like it's not, when we read it, we go, how is that we have the Bhagavatam as spoken, and then we see here, and if you look carefully, Sanatana Goswami Prabhu wrote his own tika, commentary, and then he'll show you how some part that you're reading is related to a particular verse in the Bhagavatam. It's very beautiful. But, so Jaimini Rishi is telling us to Parikshit Maharaj's son, Janame-joy. Because Janame-joy says to him, I just heard, or I heard previously the Mahabharata from Vishampayana Rishi. And that Jaimini Rishi had just told Mahabharata. Right? So Janame-joy says, so I heard previously Vishampayana Rishi, and now I'm hearing you. He said, but when I hear it from you, in other words, basically the same things are being said, but when I hear it from you, it has some peculiar madhura sweetness and quality to it. Right? So just understand, the same things being said by different agents, but one has the madhura rasa flow, as detected by Janame-joy. And so, he's saying, so And that's awakened an eagerness in me to hear more about that. And then he's telling this Brihad Bhagavatamritam. But what I want to say is that, so the first verse there of the Brihad Bhagavatamritam, right? Remember, Krishna, the Srimad Bhagavatam is, Krishna in book form. So much so that Prabhupada called the 10th canto the Krishna book. Right? So it's the Krishna book, but the book of Krishna, the Krishna book, Yadamiyam Mahima Sri Bhagavatyam Katayam Pratipatam Anubhutam Apya Labdavideya Tadakila Rasa Murti Shamalila Avalambam Madhura Rasadi Sri Radha Padmam Prapade. That although her name is not mentioned ostensibly, every verse, everything is meant to take us toward one destination, the service of the holy lotus feet of Srimati Radharani, Radha Dasyam, which interestingly, Sanatana Goswami Prabhu says in that Brihad Bhagavatamritam. He says, Radha Dasechava, same thing. So all about Krishna, 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 hey. What's the first verse of the Brihad Bhagavatamritam in glorification of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Right? What's the first verse of the Radha Rasa Shuddha Nidhi of Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur, with so many verses in glorification of Srimati Radharani? The first verse, glorification of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, because Sanatana Goswami is saying, he is Krishna Chandra. He is Krishna, but who's come in this most astonishing form to distribute something to everyone. So he has first the Mahaprabhu, then he's glorifying, Mathura, Vrindavan, Bhakti Devi, Mathura, so many things. And then this verse comes. Jayati Jayati Namananda Rupa Murari Viramita Nija Dharma Dhyana Pujari Jatnam Katam Api Sakridatam Muktidam Praninam Yat Paramam Amritam Ekam Jivanam Bhushanam Me. And Srila Gurumar said, Sanatana Goswami, let the ecstasy coming from taking the holy name be victorious. Namananda Rupam Murari Ananda, ecstasy. Namananda. Even those Nam Ananda. Namananda. Nam ecstasy is coming out from the service of the holy name. That may be victorious over all tendencies that are found in the world. It may prevail, be crowned with success, may have the greatest influence over everything. And then he's saying, Viramita Nija Dharma Dhyana Pujari. It can paralyze all our holy tendencies, not only ordinary tendencies. See, that's how we would think, like, oh, it will relieve us from all, lower things or lower tendencies. He says ordinary tendencies. He said, no, even holy tendencies. All other holy tendencies, they will be stopped. And I think, well, aren't they a good thing? Everything will be stopped. It is so powerful. Nija Dharma, duty in every phase of life, with the ecstasy coming out of the holy name. It may paralyze all other duties. Dhyan, our conscious movement or meditation, stopped, right? Paralyzed, that's the word Guru Maharaj is using, paralyzed. Nija Dharma Dhyana Puja, the attempt, the archan, puja, the serving becomes so much intense, all other attempts are for the moment forgotten. Viramita Nija Dharma Dhyana Pujari Jatnam, Nija Dharma, in discharging our duties. That is what is in the nature of karma, holy, pious karma. Then dhyan means in the area of pure consciousness, conscious attempt. And puja, our reverent offering to the Lord, that also. It's so powerful in any way, if we can come to have a touch of that holy name, Katamapi, somehow, if we can, if we're blessed with the slightest connection of that holy name, then liberation from all undesirable things is at once effected. It is so disaffecting in character. And one can feel it is sustaining the very life. Life sustainer, life-giving, enlivening, jivanam bhushanam. And also decoration. Not only life, but decoration also. The vilas is also, we find from that sound. Vaikuntha Nam, the holy name. Guru Maharaj likes to quote the same, Vaikuntha Nama Grahanam. That for it to be the holy name proper, Vaikuntha here means spiritual. Vaikuntha has different meanings. So it has to have spiritual quality, spiritual character. He liked to quote Jagadananda Pandit, Prema Vibhart, where he says, Namakar Bahiroy Bata Namu Kabunoi. That just the syllables of the holy name are never the holy name. Right? But it is that's like the shell. Right? Saying, but the current with which the name is taken, Sevan Mukhe Hijivaro Shaimeva Spurtida, Rupa Goswami says. That the Nam, Rupa, Guna, Leela of Krishna, Grahyam Indriye, Atak Shri Krishna Namadi Nabhavyed Grahyam Indriye, is beyond the grasp of the senses, the mind, the intelligence. And then he says, Sevan Mukhe Hijiva. But if there is serving current, the current of seva, then there may be revelation. Like these lights, the apparatus is there. Without the current, there's no illumination. The exact same apparatus is there. Take away the current, darkness. That's what he's saying. The apparatus, the external, you're saying Krishna, but not with the seva current, there's no illumination. Right? Revelation. Then he quotes, so that's Sanatana Goswami Prabhu's verse, given in his introduction of the Brihad Bhagavatamritam. Then Rupa Goswami, Nikila Shruti Moli Ratnamala, Duti Nirajita Pada Pankajanta, Ai Mukta Kule Upashyamanam, Paritas Tvam Harinam Sangsayami. Rupa Goswami Prabhu's approach toward the greatness of the name and the highly holy nature of the name. We cannot find in ordinary Shruti the mention and the praise of the holy name. Shruti means Veda, Upanishad, but it also means and revealed truth. So, just as in the 87th chapter of the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, what Prabhupada called the prayers of the personified Vedas, prayers of the Veda Stuti. So, and the Upanishad, say there's 108. Right? So Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur will say, say they're all waiting in line, as it were, to offer some praise. And he's saying the ones that are more general, or only indicating a particular direction to go in, some of the other Upanishads are becoming impatient with them. Like, finish up. Because they want to get more explicit about what you find in that direction. So we hear Shruti Bir Vimrigyam in the 10th canto in the like the Brahma Gita. Asamaho Charanayan Rishamahangsan Uddhava. And remember, he was sent by Krishna with a letter, a message for the Braja Gopis to try and assuage the pain of separation in their hearts. And he got the opposite. In fact, Krishna telling them to take up yoga and learn to meditate, and that God is everywhere. The gopis became angry to hear that. They're saying, we're gopis. And we're not yogis or jnanis and it's some kind of meditative. We're your beloved gopis. And we won't be satisfied with anything less than you. Not abstract meditation or some other thing. And you know that, so why are you saying these things? But we could say that sometimes Krishna is teasing them so that their heart sentiments will become more intense. Right? But during that, we know that Radharani, she is having her mad talks with the bumblebee, right? The Brahma Gita. So Uddhava, really one aspect of Krishna sending him with the letter is he wants Uddhava to see the sort of devotion, the highest devotion there is, that is in the hearts of Srimati Radharani and the Braja Gopis. She is their leader. Right? After, same thing in the beginning of Brihad Bhagavatamritam, he talks about prema of the Braja Gopis, and then the next verse will say, and their supreme leader is Srimati Radharani. So he wanted them to see that, Uddhava. And that Uddhava, seeing how great they are, says, Asamaho Charanarena Jishamahangshang Vrindavanekam api Gumalatosadinam. My aspiration is to become a creeper in the soil of Vrindavan so that the dust from their holy lotus feet will come upon me. Right? And he's saying, what Shruti Vir Vimrigya means, what the Vedas are searching for, they've got. So I want to connect with them. The Vedas are searching for that or pointing in a particular direction, they have that. Right? That you can say they have Krishna in the palm of their lotus hands. So he says, we cannot find an ordinary Shruti, the mention of the praise of the holy name, but those that are finest and highest, expressive in thought of Shruti. We find that they are meant in praise of the holy name, the holy sound aspect of the Lord, and they are considered to be the highest amongst the revealed truth. The highest quality of revealed truth only is seen as if nirajita, as if with its light. Nirajita means aratrik, trying to show the holy figure of the Lord. Right? So, and Srila Gurudev, in his poetry, his song about Nitai Chaitanya Arati in Puri, he uses this type of imagery, comparing you can say all these Shruti, they're personified. But he's saying they're like, if you take 108 lights, the shika means this, but it also means the flame, like we see on the lamp. So he's saying, if you take the principal sounds, and what do you do? Ratri means the night or darkness. So arati, we know previously, and still in some places in India, they don't have electric lights for the deities. They have some ghee lamps, And when you light the Panch Pradeep, or the Archak is showing the form of the deities to everyone. It's also offering the flame to them, but simultaneously showing, revealing the form of the deity by those lights. Right? That concept is also there. So here, saying what Rupa Goswami is saying, all these divine sounds personified, they want to reveal something. Just like the lamp will give illumination and reveal something. Right? So he's saying they're all surrounding the holy, they are sound, and they're all surrounding the supreme sound personified, which is Krishna. Krishna and Krishna Nam are identical. Elsewhere, Guru Maharaj said, they are saying that it is through sound, like anavriti, shabda, veda, through sound you'll become liberated and achieve the highest position of liberation. And he said it in this way. He said, if they don't say that, it's suicidal. What does he mean? Because they are sounds. So they have to speak in favor of sound. Right? He's saying, but, so all these divine sounds personified are, with their illumination, revealing that the supreme sound of sounds, of divine sounds, is the holy name of Krishna. That's what Rupa Goswami is saying in this verse. And what is the highest type of revealed truth trying to show? We're still in the verse of Rupa Goswami. Pada Pankajanta, the lowest, the highest revealed truth is trying to connect us to the lowest position of the Supreme. Because that is always the way. I'm saying, Mukunda Charanam Bhujam, no pati, Savarto Mrityor. So he says, Ai Mukta Kalayupa, where should we begin? Our proper beginning will be with the holy feet. If we try to focus on other parts of the Lord, we'll be misguided. The proper beginning must be to the lowest position, and then gradually we shall go up. I think of an apparent contradiction, but not, from Queen Kunti. So she knows this, and she's in the pastimes of Krishna, but she's his an aunt position. So to not embarrass Krishna, she says, Namak Pankajanabhaya, Namak Pankajamaline, Namak Pankajanetraya, Namaste Pankajangraya. She wants to give obeisances to the lotus feet of Krishna, but that will be awkward socially. So she says, Namak Pankajanabhaya, I offer my respects to your lotus navel. Namak Pankajamaline, and to the garland of lotus flowers upon you. Namak Pankajanetraya, and to your beautiful lotus eyes. Namak Pankajangrahe, and to your lotus feet. So she knows this, that really that is where you should begin. And this that's where she ends, but it shows how clever she is as a queen to simultaneously offer obeisances to the lotus feet of Krishna while not creating anything socially awkward. She's a genius queen. But here, so always the approach to the lotus feet. Right? As Guru Maharaj said, what does it mean to offer the highest aspect of myself to the least aspect of that plane? That is namak, namaste, giving dandavats, obeisance. This is what it is about. Why we bow down. Why so much bowing? Because we're dealing with very high substance. So you take the highest part of yourself, considered to be the head, in a general sense, and then bow that down to the least aspect of that plane. And this is always there, consistently everywhere. So, you say, Bande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. Saying, and Srila Rupa Goswami in the Radhastakam. So we know Lalita Astakam, he also has Radhastakam. And the first verse, again, is always very important. That's why it's given. It's just not randomly appearing as the first verse of an Astakam. The first one has to identify some extraordinary, unique quality, trait, characteristic. Right? As in the Lalita, Radha Mukunda Parasambhava Garma Bindu Nirmanchanopakarani Krita Nehulaksham Utunga Sofrita Vishesha Vishat Prakalbam Devim Gunai Sulalitam Lalitam Namami. And it's the same, it's similar, same, but different. He said, Radha Mukunda Parasambhava Garma Bindu, he's talking there about a drop of sweat enters into their divine pastimes. Lalita Saki is prepared to take 100,000 forms to remove that, to show that not the least disturbance might enter that plane. So like one servitor can expand into 100,000 to ensure the divine pastimes will proceed unobstructed. So that shows the greatest magnitude of eagerness for the least aspect of seva. I want to say Radha Mukunda Padasambhava, Pada, right? That there might be there on the lotus feet. Right? But when Rupa Goswami writing about Srimati Radharani, remember, Lalita Saki is right at the side of Srimati Radharani. Where will he begin his glorification of her? Hari Paranaka Koti Prishta Parjanta Simha. As if what we just heard there seems impossible to improve upon. Right? It says, Hari Paranaka Koti Prishta Parjanta Simha Tatamapi Kalyantim Prana Abhishta Doham Utunga Pramudita Madarakshi Vrinda Vaidagdika Gurum Api Guru Kirting Radhika Marchayami. Hari Paranaka. So we said the lotus feet are the least aspect. Right? So always approach the lotus feet first. But if you were to parse further, what would be the least aspect of the lotus feet? You understand? The nails. And so we say the lotus feet, that's the lowest part. And then, but of the lotus feet, which would be the least part, would be the nails of the lotus feet. Right? So Rupa Goswami says that Srimati Radharani considers the nails of the lotus feet of Krishna to be infinitely of more value than her own highest aspect of self, magnified millions of times. Hari Paranaka Koti Prishta Parjanta Simha. That the least aspect of the lotus feet of Krishna is more valuable than the highest aspect of herself, multiplied millions of times. That's where he begins his glorification of her. And as if Krishna is responding to her, Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur, the Radha Rasa Shuddhinini, what did he say? Yasya kadapi vasananjala kelanota danyati danya pavanena kritartayamani yogendram durgam agati madhusudanopi tasya namostu vrishabhanu bubodhishepi. Saying, that Krishna, so she feels that way about that Krishna, says, if the breeze from the skirt of Radharani comes upon him, he feels he's got the greatest treasure. So all these higher things, they're measured in the inverse, not by the, ostentatious display of achievement. In fact, the least showing always the greatest appreciation for the least aspect, for the least amount of contact. That Krishna is saying, the breeze. And this is being said by Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur, saying, if Krishna feels that the breeze from the skirt of Radharani upon him is achieving the most valuable treasure, that Krishna whom Yogendra means the kings of the yogi, Yogendram Durga Magati Madhusudanopi, that Madhusudan who is very difficult for the kings of the yogis to come in connection with, but he feels this way, then what should be my position? Tasya namostu vrishabhanu bubodhishepi. Saying, then as far as I'm concerned, the direction she appeared in is worshipable to me. So we see always the greatest amount of appreciation for the least connection reveals supreme devotion. Right? So this is Rupa Goswami's prayer to the holy name of Krishna. But as Guru Maharaj said, where should we begin? With the holy feet. The proper beginning must be to the lowest position, then gradually we shall go up. That will be healthy progress, line of progress. Pada pankajanta, ayi mukta kulayo pashamanam. O name, the ordinary men that are in bondage cannot approach you. Your real realization and proper dealings, your service is only possible by those who are really masters of all illusory tendencies. Only they can be liberated. The highly liberated souls can only approach you. The ayi mukta kulayo pashamanam. And they are all around you, as if in a crowd, the liberated souls are trying to give their obeisances to you. Paritastvam harinam sangshayami. And I'm praying to get the shelter of your holy feet. So he says, this is spoken by Rupa Goswami. Then, quoted by Rupa Goswami and others, Padma Purana, Nama Chintamani Krishnas, Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha, Purnak Shuddho Nitya Mukto, Binatvam Nama Namano. The name of the Lord, Krishna, is just like Chintamani. It says Chintamani is a kind of jewel, the possessor of which, whatever he will think, it will automatically come to him. And one thing we should understand, this has nothing to do with mundane desires, aspirations, because a mundane person could not possess a Chintamani gem. Footnote. So then we'll find out what kind of desires, and it's like a mundane person cannot have a kalpa vriksha in their backyard. These are spiritually conscious substance. Vaikuntya pritivyari sakala chinmoy. Everything in the Vaikuntha world is made out of chinmoy, spiritual substance. It means consciousness. And consciousness, not only consciousness, but enriched with Krishna consciousness, and the highest type of Krishna consciousness. So he says, whatever you think will automatically come to him, Chintamani, like Kalpa Vriksha, whatever is wanted. Nama Chintamani Krishna, a particular kind of jewel, the possessor, whatever he thinks at once comes to him. That is Chintamani. Nama Chintamani Krishna. Krishna Nam is Chintamani. And any holy benefit we may get from out of it, what he means to say is, so whatever you could possibly, and we're speaking spiritually, whatever you could aspire to, whatever you could want, you get it all from Krishna Nam. It's Nam Chintamani, like a Kalpavriksha. So he said, it can supply all the necessary demands of our inner heart in the holiest association. Nama Chintamani Krishna. Krishna's name is such. And Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. We shall try to think that ecstasy personified, it is ecstasy personified and purely of spiritual play. Chaitanya Rasa. The rasa, the ecstasy that is purely spiritual. Then Guru Maharaj kindly, mercifully defines what spiritual means, in case anyone was wondering. Spiritual means that it is of serving attitude. That's interesting. So in other words, from Guru Maharaj's perspective, if something's not done with service, it can't be actually spiritual. Right? That's revelatory. Right? And we hear that's consistent with Prahlad Maharaj, the Nava Bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam. That Sridhar Swami says, do arpita paschad kriyeta. The basis of the Shravanam, Kirtanam, etc. must be self-giving. It must be done with a serving attitude. Otherwise, it's not Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, it's proper. Not the least trace of exploitation. Anya bilashita shunyam jnana karmadyanavritam anukulyena krishnanushilanam bhaktirtama. Or renunciation, negligence, indifferent. It commands our active sympathy, draws our attention in a natural way. Just like Jiva Goswami says about Krishna conception. Bhajaniya sarvasad guna vishishta. Coming in connection with Krishna, being irresistibly drawn and attraction by his qualities, beauty, charm, sweetness, and automatically you want to give yourself to him. Right? This is the nature of service. Our submission, subjugation can be produced by its charming presence. And I've said, we see in this world, like sometimes, like let's use the example of little children who are like very cute, right? And adults want to come and they suddenly, just lose control and they just want to give themselves to these children, do something for them, or be played by them. Right? Because they're automatically charmed by their sweetness and cuteness and their movements, gestures, the way they look, everything about them. They just melt and want to give themselves. Right? He's saying, it's like that, but for this. Right? Coming in connection with Krishna, it's not that like you have to force yourself to do this and we're trying as hard as we can and you have to get up early. But I mean, you do. But it should be at a certain point that when something's covered with rust, the magnet, it may not pull. The pull may not be, but as the rust is removed, then automatically the magnetic attraction is there. So we're hopeful under the guidance of Sadhu Shastra Guru and Vaishnav that gradually what Guru Maharaj calls acquired prejudice, acquired tendency, these coverings will begin to diminish and vanish, and then the natural attraction for Krishna will be realized irresistibly. One will, ahoy tuki pratyata, Guru Maharaj says means causeless and irresistible. When we say Krishna is all attractive, we mean he's irresistible. One will be irresistibly drawn in attraction and want to offer themselves in service. Right? So, our subjugation is produced by his charming presence. Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. Rasa, our innate, the element which can, the fine element, fine and pious element that can attract our innermost attention and interest toward it. Rasa, Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha, and that is consciousness. What is pure consciousness? That is serving wave, serving sympathetic wave towards the aim, the destination, that current, Rasa Vigraha, and that is personified, the Rasa Vigraha, in the holy name of Krishna. Nitya, it is eternal, never-ending. Mukta, it is free, having no obligation to any other entity. Nitya Mukta. Then Purna, full, absolute in nature. And purity, Shuddha, means purity. Purity, we are to understand what is purity. Our aim will always be that only service is purity. Oh. Hare Krishna. I think I'll stop there this time. But, so the verse, Nama Chintamani Kriyachanya Rasa Vigraha, Purnak Shuddho Nitya Mukto, Abhenatvam Nama Namano, what Guru Maharaj will explain, and we'll deal with in the next time, is that, so how is all this possible? Abhenatvam Nama Namano, because the holy name is Krishna. So he will describe why these exalted, pure devotees, they're always taking Krishna Nam and they don't desire anything else. It's because the holy name is Krishna. So they're with Krishna, they have everything. So they're niskenchan, they couldn't be interested in anything else because through their Krishna Nam, their Shuddha Nam, they're in direct contact and service with Krishna. So they're utterly, completely satisfied. Sarvatma snaparam param vijayate Shri Krishna samkirtanam. Hare Krishna. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudan. Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan. Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra. Garadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath. Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath. Echai Gochai Kori Charana Bandhan. Jaha Hoite Vignanas Abhishta Puran. Echai Goshai Jar Mui Taro Das. Kansavara Padarenu Mora Panchagras. Andera Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanevas. Janame Janame Moreya Vilas. Echai Goshai Jar. Echai Goshai Jave Praje Koilovas. Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korilo Prakash. Anande Boro Hari Bhaja Vrindavan. Sri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majayaman. Sri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyan. Hare Nam Sankirtan Kore Narottamadan. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol. Jai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajaka Sateras of the Sri Srimad So Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakha Akshvirar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Saparikar Sri Sri Guru Gauranga Gandharva Govinda Sundar Jiu Ki Jai. Jai Saparikar Sri Sri Guru Gauranga Radha Govinda Sundar Jiu Ki Jai. Sri Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai. Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Go Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Govina Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Navadip Dham Ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai, Sri Gupta Govardhan Ki Jai, Ganga Devi Jamuna Devi Bhakti Devi Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Om Vishnupad Vishva Varenya Srilesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Madhacharya Vrinda Ki Jai, Jai Sri Bhakti Bimala Badut Maharaj Ki Jai, Sannyasi Vrinda Ki Jai, Sri Bhakti Lalita Devi Dasi Ki Jai, Seva Vrinda Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Nitai Go Premanande.
Jai Vishnupada Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Maharaj Dandavats from Dhanjai Prabhu Russia, Krishna Kanti Didi USA, Kalyani Didi USA, Krishna Das Prabhu Ukraine, Sevarupa Didi Mexico, Vijay Krishna Prabhu UK, Madhavi Didi and Atul Krishna Prabhu from Hungary, Rostanda Prabhu Sochi, Divya Shakti Didi USA, Satyabhama Didi, Russia. Irina Gavrina, it's Russian name. Krishna Chandra Didi, Philippines. Indrani Didi from Kiev. Ananda Mohi Didi, Portugal. Sahadevi Didi, USA. Ajita Krishna Prabhu. Sulalita Didi, Banavi Didi, Italy. And Nadia Priya Didi, and all Ukrainian devotees.
Hare Krishna. And our dandavats and to Narasevya Devidas in Russia, Rasananda Prabhu in Sochi, another Rasananda. You can never have enough Rasa Ananda. What are we here? Oh, Namananda, Rasananda, Chaitanya Nitai Prabhu and Dandavat, Parama Bhakti Didi in Brazil, Dandavat Brajalatika and Ors Dandavat Sulakshana Didi is here, Sripad Bhakti Sevan Rishikesh Maharaj, Dandavat. They're in Abhazia, right?
Yes.
Hare Krishna. And Vrivda Devi, she's your mom, right? Is that her name? Vrinda, right. Why does it say Vrivda? They should change that to an N. I was thinking, good Lord. Hare Krishna. Vrinda Devi Nase. Excuse me for mispronouncing your name in the past. Goran Nataraj in Brazil, Dandavat. Ananta Shesh Prabhu in Spain, Dandavat. Gaurachandra Prabhu in Nadhotka, Russia, Dandavat. Pavel Brun Prabhu in Moscow, Dandavat. Lakshmi Priya Didi in Kiev, Dandavat. Hare Krishna. Anindita Dandavat. Tapananandini Didi, Dandavat. Ajita Krishna Prabhu in Kiselni, Dandavat. I know that room very well. Krishna Das, Hare Krishna, in Ukraine, right? Ukraina. Rasananda Prabhu, Dandavat, Hare Krishna, and Govinda Land, Hare Krishna, Dandavat. Leela Sundar Prabhu, Dandavat. Praneshri Didi, Dandavat. Malini Didi in Orsk, Dandavat. Indumukhi in China with Mitravinda, Dandavat. Priyananda Didi is here, Nityananda Das is here doing the Russian translation, Suchitra Devi, Dandavat, Sandeep and Maheshri Didi, Dandavat, Swarnangi Didi of St. Petersburg, Dandavat, Leelananda, that is Diana,
Yeah.
okay, Kamala Didi, Dandavat.
That's it.
That's it? All right. Banchakalpatribhyascha kripa sindhuvevacha patitanam pavanevyo vaishnavevyo namo namaha. Everyone, Hare Krishna.
Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj ki jai.